Hello there. It is Reverend Tasha Blackburn with the One Pres Pod, and we are back with another episode of Rham Asks a Question, which means, of course, Rham Cunningham is here. Hello,
Hello,
hello.
Tasha. Hello, hello. How are you?
Well, I am doing well, Rham. I'm I feel I should give you a true confession though, because
Hmm.
I've been on a Zoom board meeting all day, and I'm not usually on those. And
Right.
then they went on a break and I needed to go run a quick errand. So I ran the errand. And as I'm walking in the store, I realized I had on my slippers. So I'd done the board meeting all morning. And here I am out in my
We had
slip.
all of 2020 to master the Zoom board. What happened there, Tasha? I mean, I don't know. We had
I
all of
know. And
2020.
I and so you know me well enough, Ram, to know what I did next. I just kept on walking.
Just kept
And I
going.
went, just own it with like the little Christmas reindeer slippers or
Yep.
whatever. It's great.
Yep. There's no reason to be ashamed. You just own it, and you came with a mission, and you got it done. So
So I hope your virtual and in real life is going similarly hilariously.
oh, always. There's always laughs. In fact, today's laugh I walked into my office and I was carrying my briefcase, my backpack. It's a very big duffel bag backpack. And I just realized how much electronics I have in there. I literally have 4 iPads, 3 laptops, and I don't even know 2 other things. It's crazy. And it weighs about 7 tons. So that's my laugh right
It
now.
sounds like you had just stolen from the Geek Squad.
I know I would love to like set it all up and say it was like control center, I'm trying to control it anyway, it's just my it's all about the new cornhole addiction that we can talk about at another time that we're doing at the bakery, but it's all great.
The cornhole addiction.
Oh yes, it's a very popular game, but it's a lot of fun. But no, I do I have lots of questions as I do each and every week, and I love that we get to have this conversation. And sometimes I like to give you like a few days heads up and say, here's what we're going to do. But some days it just kind of, I just feel it. It's just kind of in the moment. And this one is especially true to me now. First off, my baby girl is on the road right now, on her way to New York with her mom to visit her family up there in New York, and they are driving. They busted up into 3 days, so it's not so bad. But I'm gonna be missing her. So anyway, this past weekend we spent our last weekend together as far as before they left, and it was very good. But it was a very rough weekend for many reasons, and I won't get into that. But Sunday morning, a morning that I have looked forward to now for well over a year, and I've really just been so excited about coming to church, and I really have been good about not missing and not going and not missing Sunday school and anything. But I wasn't feeling it, Tasha. I wasn't feeling it Sunday morning, and to a degree that I told myself as I was getting ready that I don't think that I need to go to church today. And at the same time, my mind going, well, that means you need to go to church today, Rham. Hello. So there's kind of that constant battle there. But I just really didn't feel it. So I did. I went to the 9 o'clock service. And I do remember seeing you. I do remember seeing Phil and a few other people. I remember there's someone sitting in front of me. I do remember talking to him. But other than that, I don't remember much anything about the sermon. And left immediately after, didn't come to Sunday school, and kind of just spent my day sulking and I guess mad. I don't know. So I guess my question is, there are times that happens, and should I have just stayed home?
It's a really good question. I think being part of a faith community, going to worship, um, there are just so many things that fall under that umbrella, right? And so one of the things that falls under that umbrella is, oh boy, I'm a sponge and I am ready to soak up, you know, knowledge or hope or forgiveness, or like but I'm a sponge, right? And so obviously, if that was the only thing that was under the umbrella of what it means to be in a faith community or go to worship, then you should have just stayed home, Ram,
Right,
because your sponge was like all wrung out and laying across the sink, and the sink is
Yes.
full of dirty dishes. And, I mean, it's that kind of day. Um, there's all these other reasons we go too. I mean, not least of which really is to set the routine for ourselves, to say, I am a person who I don't even know when one week has bled into another unless I can go to worship. It is the pattern of my days, right? Like literally the pattern of my days. And it is how I want to orient my days. So, under that heading, under proving to yourself, like, no, I want to be the kind of person who has these routines. These are priorities in my life, whether I am feeling it or not, right? You did it. You got up, you dragged your happy hind in there. I mean, and I do have to mention at least a third reason for the faith community. I mean, and they're related. Like sometimes we don't show up at all for ourselves. We show up because we know that guy that we always sit behind maybe doesn't talk to very many people during the week and clearly loves to talk to us, right? Or we show up because we know our pastors are hanging on by a thread and emotionally and could really use our smiling, but whatever, we show up for each other too. And I would say there's a flip of that too. Like, I can't tell you, Rham, how many times people come to church just to cry. And other people don't necessarily always know that, because at least in my tradition, for the most part, we have people sitting in pews. And so like their backs are, anyway, sometimes all they see is people's backs,
Right.
but I see their faces. And they'll tell me later too, but it's like they came and they had nothing that day, but they did have a spot to sit and to hear someone else sing, to hear someone else pray. They cannot sing, they cannot pray, they cannot join in, but they need to know somebody is. So there is that sense in which we show up for each other too. So in those ways, I mean, you're not going to hear many pastors say this, but there are some days where it's like, no, it was better for me to stay home. It was better.
I think that there was, back to what you said about, we're there for each other. I think too, it was one of those where I felt bad that I really didn't think that I was bringing anything to the table. And, I did have one conversation with one person, and it was just it was very special who it was. It was somebody that I have talked to a few times during COVID, and I've never, and it's starting to happen a lot now. Certainly with Mary and wait, did I say that right? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm meeting people now, and I met is his name Bebo?
Bebo.
And he was one of the first people I talked to after I got out of my rehab, and I've never met him. And randomly on this day that Rham did not want to come to church, almost didn't go to church, fought going to church, goes to sit in his normal place because we're creatures of habit. And who sits there right in front of me is this gentleman that turns around and introduces himself as him. So I brought that out of Sunday. I brought
and
that.
You have no idea where that's going to go, Rham, because
I know
that is the man who has walked this walk for decades.
And there he was on a day I didn't want to be there.
Exactly. And again, and you might have even gone home and still said, I didn't need to go. I should have stayed home. But we just never know. We know what's going to happen in the house. I mean, we're fairly well aware of that. We have no idea what's going to happen when we step outside the door. And I do think it's so important yes, we can sometimes, like I said, it is the right answer to say, I just shouldn't have gone. But on the other hand, lots of times, if we'll remember what's on there, all those things under the umbrella of why to go to church. And it wasn't just, did it meet every one of my needs this morning? Right? That's under there, but it's not the only thing under there. And when we start to broaden that out, our answer really can be, is going to be more often than not, yeah, I should have gone. Yeah, I'm glad I went.
Well, you know what I think, and this is going to sound weird, but I wrote about it last week in my captain's log. But it was about things that you want to do and things that you have to do, and it was basically all about have to. And as bad as it might sound, I went to church Sunday because I had to, and it wasn't in a bad way, but I had to. I didn't necessarily want to, but most of the time I always want to, but this time I did it because I had to,
Mhm.
because I've made myself believe that that's something that I do have to do. That's something that I need as someone, to me, having to do something means you do it. And, if you have to do something and you don't do it, it means you didn't have to do it. That's really kind of where my focus is,
You're very black and white like that, aren't you, Rham?
yeah, I really
Yeah.
am. And I know there's a lot of gray in there. Trust me. Lindsay and I talk about it often, but when I simplify it to that in my rapidly spinning mind, if I can just get it broken down to that, it makes sense to me. But I went to church because I had to, and I'm glad that I did for multiple reasons. But it's one of those where I knew if I didn't go, then 1 week so quickly turns into 1 month. It's unbelievable how that happens. How 1 week I don't know how that happens in church time, but in church time, if I miss a week, I miss a month, and I don't understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't
Well,
want that to happen. So,
and some language I've been really trying to work on in my own life, because my brain works a lot like that too, Ram, where there's a whole list of have tos, and
yeah.
almost everything is have to, right? And that can really get burdensome, and you can get real bitter too, real honestly, about all the have tos. I've really been trying to flip that script a little bit for myself. And I've tried to use the pandemic as a real hello writ large
Mhm.
reminder of it. I get to, like,
Mm.
I don't like to exercise. Okay, this should be fairly obvious to you, Ram, and anyone else who's ever even met me in passing. I don't like to at all. And I will drag myself there. I mean, sometimes. And I
Mhm.
spend the whole time, "Oh, I have to, I have to. This is the rest of my life. I have to, right?" And you know what? Then I'll go visit somebody in the hospital back when we were allowed to do that, or I'll see them in their home and they're having some health problems or whatever. And it's like, you know what? I get to. I get
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
use my body and try
Yeah.
to push it to some version of a limit. Uh,
Mhm.
and I get to use this. And I think so often in our lives, we can get so used to our routine and have all that responsibility language on top of it that we lose all the joy.
Right.
It's like, no, I get to raise this kid who's sitting in front of me. Like, how
Mhm.
awesome is that? They just
I do
handed her
like that,
to
that
me.
that take to it. I do
They
like that
handed
take
her
to
to me and said, raise her. Can you believe it?
it.
I
Mhm.
get to do that.
Mhm.
I get to build a marriage
Right.
and navigate all the ins and outs of that. Not like, oh, I have to talk to you again. I thought we'd work through this issue or that issue, but I
Right.
haven't and I have to. No, I get to. I
Mhm.
get to
Well,
have
I
to do
think I
that.
think my have to, and I think it's really kind of where, which direction that you go. But my have to, and I really am. I'm about to text you a link to last week's blog about have to, about want to, and because it's really good, and I want to know what your thoughts are on it. But you know, I brought myself to the conclusion of have to, and have to doesn't necessarily mean I had to hit a wall,
Mhm.
but I had to stop drinking, and that was really where I made my mind. It was really no one else. Everyone could help me. A lot of people could help me, but no one could do it but me. And I know that's very also black and white, and it's also kind of cliche, but it's so true, until you do it. So until I made myself believe that I had to stop drinking. I can never drink again. That is what that's how I speak now. So to me, it's a have to, but in a critical way. There's
Mhm.
a have to, because to me, I'm like, oh, I have to start eating better. Oh, I have to start working out. No, if I had to, I would already do it.
Yeah.
So I need to, I should, I
Yeah.
better, but so that's really kind of the foundation of that point.
And the
So you,
really exciting part about the have to of the drinking is like, I get to navigate a whole different kind of life here. And I get to
mhm,
look around those corners and see where it leads, where I can't even guess. I get to do that. I
Right.
get to do that sober and clear eyed,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I know for myself that have to language is very strong,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
all the joy can get squelched out of it
It can.
when we
Yeah,
do
it
that to
really can.
ourselves.
Yeah. No,
It's I
it
get
most
to.
definitely can.
Can I
I
say
do.
one more word? I want to say one more word about people who sometimes choose to miss church for a while. I see this all the time as a pastor. Um, this happens often if there's a separation or a divorce in a marriage, if there's a death, if there's sometimes even like if a kid goes off to college, uh, for the person who is in the church who has church memories, like memories tied up with the place and then that person, like I always sat with that person
Mhm.
when we did this, or we had so and so's funeral here or whatever. And then lots of times they will stay away for a while because it's also it's too painful,
Mhm.
kind of. I cannot come back in that room. I've heard that before. I can't come back in that room yet. It's too painful. And I think something I would say, not to minimize the pain, but to say, maybe that's exactly where you need to be then.
Mhm.
Like maybe you need to actually just sit in that for a while
Mhm.
and say, yep, you know what? We baptized that baby here, and now that baby is off at school, and it's a whole new page in my life, and I'm not ready for it, and I have all these memories of, or whatever. But it's like maybe that's exactly where you need to be,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
kind of grieve it, look to what's next. So sometimes I do know we can have that happen where people really want to run from the pain. And
Mhm.
if the room or even the doorway, like, is it all associated with the pain? They want to run from it. And I I always have thought that's sort of sad because it may be that you have to walk right through that pain
Mhm.
to even get anywhere else. So I don't know. It's been an interesting phenomenon I've noticed over the years of
Right.
people who stay away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I think that my connection with the church and with, my, getting involved as much as I try to get, I have in the last year or so, it's really made it to where, yes, days like Sunday, they're going to come and go. Maybe I rephrase that have to, I do get to, and I see what you're saying with that. But I guess it was one of those, I feel such a strong connection with where I am, with the people that I'm around, with the people that I felt so strongly about that it was important enough to me to fight through everything I had to fight through to be there, even though I wasn't there in my mind mentally, even though I know I was for one thing, and this is totally on me, but it was just the timing of everything, is I had my phone, and you don't have your phone in church, and I did, and it was only because of the Sophie situation, and it was just a nightmare. It was just really bad. Um,
I'm very sorry about that.
yeah, I am
I'm
too,
sure
and
that
I'm gonna go
Bevo
back
was,
online. I'm gonna
I'm
go
sure
back
Bevo was
online
happy to
and
meet you.
yeah, well, I'm gonna go back online and find the sermon so I can
No,
watch.
it really wasn't much. I'm just going to keep it still here
Okay.
and say, really, no, it's in the
Okay.
dustbin of history. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's birdcage liner at
It
this
is
point.
so easy. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. You guys may have mastered it by now since you've gotten such a long time to practice. But to me, I think I can hide emotion tremendously with sunglasses and a mask. And as longer I can keep the sunglasses on, okay, fine, I take those off. I'm still covered up my half. I can hide a lot of emotion by covering the bottom half of my face. So I would think it would be hard for a pastor to read someone and see their emotion. I mean,
It's
because you
harder
could,
to it's harder to read
oh,
right
oh
now.
my goodness, I can't even,
Yeah.
yeah. Because when someone's down, and you guys would have known. If you'd have seen the all of Ram, you would have known that, Ram, maybe you should probably go home.
Full Ram, and I would have said,
Hey, go
get back
home.
in the Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah, get back in the Jeep, buddy. You can
Well,
you you get a pass for Sunday school.
yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, you're not going to want to
Well,
skip this Sunday though, because we're actually talking about this kind of thing in Sunday school. Not to do a plug, but we actually are talking about this kind of thing as one of the main purposes of church is how do we shelter and nurture people. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. But hey, can I
Perfect.
have a question for you?
Yes, shoot.
Okay, before we end, I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking to myself, here we are heading to, at first I thought we are not in a holiday season. We're kind of an a low season, but then I thought, well, no, it's Mother's Day and then Father's Day and then 4th of July. Anyway, so we're kind of in a holiday season with some coming up. I want to know what are some of your favorite childhood memories around a holiday? What holiday was your favorite as a kid?
I was of course always like Christmas. The one holiday that sticks out more than anything in my entire childhood is one particular Easter. And my mom was in nursing school, and she was actually here in Fort Smith. She drove back and forth. She actually lived up here in a camper for some time, just for like during the week, and would come to Mina. Yeah, I was 12, 11, 12. My sister
Huh?
was like 8 or 9. So anyway, one Easter, she wasn't able to be in Mina with us. She had to be here in Fort Smith. And so she, the day before, took plastic eggs, of course, but she went out to my grandparents' house, my dad's parents. They have a huge piece of property. And she hid over, I don't even know, 30, 40, 50, I have no idea how many eggs. And then proceeded to draw a very detailed map to all of the eggs. Very detailed. I mean, like, I'm talking, you're in college going to nursing school, go do homework. What is this kind of thing? It was amazing. And I can't believe my sister and I don't have a copy of this map.
Yes.
I feel bad for a child for that. But anyway,
That was award-winning Mother of the Year stuff right
unbelievable.
there.
And then literally we stayed the night out at their house that weekend. And on Sunday morning, we got up and did our thing. And then there it was. We got our Easter baskets with a little map in it. We opened it up, and then we went on a treasure hunt. It was incredible.
Oh,
And something that I will absolutely one day will do with Sophie to some degree, never to match that at all, never to ever,
that's great.
yeah, it really was. So that to me, I mean, and I had so many incredible Christmases, but to me, that one, and my sister, I guarantee if you'd ask her the same questions, she would give you
Isn't that
this.
interesting? And she made a memory and may not have
Oh,
realized,
yeah.
she certainly couldn't have guessed it would be that long of a memory. Yeah. And it was.
No, and it'll be life. That's a lifer. That's one of
Yeah,
those
it's a
lifer.
lifer. One of
Yeah.
my favorite holidays has always been July 4th because my birthday's in July. And so as a kid, I always thought the fireworks were like getting everyone ready for me.
All right, of course,
Basically, of course, as a child, always things, and some of us adults included. So there you go. Those are some good holiday memories. All right. Well, Rham, you're going to have another question next week. What do you have?
I will. And this week in church, I will come with a smile on my face, even though you won't see it. Well, even though you won't see it because I'll have a mask on, but
you can frown the whole time. It'll be great.
But I look forward to coming back, and I look forward to Sunday school. I don't miss Sunday school either. So, but thank you very much. This is Rham Ask a Question, another One Pres pod. Until next week.
Peace.